Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good ever what time of day it happens to be that you are listening to the Tattoo Teacher podcast. On this episode, I have Michael P. Russo. Now, Michael is a Master of Teaching Pre-Service teacher. He's a Biomedical Engineer PhD Candidate. He helps with the RoboCup both locally and internationally, I believe. And also, he's in the middle of, like I said, completing his Masters of Teaching. He has an engineering background. Yes, that's right. So, the RoboCup is South Australia and Australia. He's worked in various education capacities from R to 12. Now, R, that's a South Australian thing. New South Wales, you're in kindergarten. If you're in Queensland, it's prep. So STEM is a big thing. Now, I'm trying to just abridge this amazing bio. But you're working in schools, you're working in school competitions, you're studying, and you're getting ready to be a teacher. Michael, welcome to the show. We're going to dive and let's see where it goes. But Firstly, you've got all these amazing things in your background, but my first question is, why education? What moved you from bioengineering into education?
I think in the shortest way to answer that question, it's just really fun, I must say. In the shortest time I've been an SSO and the long time I've been working from schools, even my wife said it to me before, she's like, you are much happier when you come back from a RoboCup workshop or something. Like, it's not to say the engineering isn't fun at all. We'll talk about it a bit more. And the stories and the people and the interactions I've been able to accumulate through it are awesome. But I think that just goes to show to the gravity of how much enjoyment being in education is bringing. Even in my engineering career, I was working at the university at Flinders Uni in the biomechanics lab under then Associate Professor John Costi, and I was doing a lot of teaching in there as well. And in my research, I was fortunate enough to win a couple of awards, and it feels good. But I got more glee and more happiness out of when I watched one of my master's students win awards, and she went over interstate and overseas and got to present and stuff like that. Yeah, I was actually I've been at the end of my PhD for a number of months now, actually. So it's always been 2 months. I get distracted. And then I was sitting there at the end of it and I was really enjoying engineering, but I wanted to incorporate more people. So I was actually looking at studying for medicine. So I sat the GAMSAT a few times, went pretty well, planned out all my schedule. And I remember looking down at my schedule and being like, I've just committed to a 10-year medical degree training. And all I've done with my timetable is try to make RoboCup work. And I thought, well, if I'm trying to do something, I should probably do the thing that I'm really passionate about and enjoying. And I set up a Teams meeting with the course counsellor in education at Flinders. His name's Cheeto. And I say his name because you should Google him. He's a legend. And he called me at like 6 o'clock at night on Teams. And after a long chat with all this similar to this format, he just looks at me and gave me that, oh, don't be an idiot, just enroll. Like, that was the look. And I was like, yeah, Cheeto, when you're right, you're right. And I actually found out after he stayed back, and then he drives to Clare, which is 2 hours away every day. So he stayed back to talk, give me all this counselling, and then he drove 2 hours to go home to see his kids. It's nuts.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, that's someone who's passionate about educators, but also obviously can see an energy, a passion, a drive, that. Now, I hate to use the term, but that X factor that you're going to bring into a classroom. And I say that, and because I've been fortunate enough over the years to be given a few opportunities where, by rights, I should have been at the top of the middle at best of the candidates for the jobs. But the headmaster said, you've got that thing that we need. And I guess Tito saw in you what education needs.
It's a weird thing to try and comprehend because I'm an engineer at heart, so the attention is not fun. I'm more than happy to be in the background doing stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Between Cheeto and the other staff, I do a lot of, we're talking with Carl Salt, Steve Corrie, even the placement coordinator, Stacey, or the science lady, Sarah. It's just been good, to say the least. Like, I had a lot of positive interactions in engineering, and they've all been really supportive of the move and wanting to help and get involved in the classroom and stuff like that. So I was like, it feels right.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, I've spoken to many teachers, and there's so many of us who, we are almost accidental teachers. Like, we started off in this one career And then we've just, through circumstance and choices and opportunities, we've ended up in education. Now, I mean, for me, my background is like, well, I was a ratbag at school. I was if you saw trouble, then that was me. But then I went on and did my trade. I did mechanical engineering trade, and then I was doing that for a while, and then I was going to go into actual do that next step into a degree in mechanical engineering and go work in a firm and do all this sort of stuff. But it's fun making stuff. I enjoy making stuff. I enjoy working out how the limits of what a material and a machine can actually do together to get the result I want. I like pushing a machine in a direction that it shouldn't really go, but it will get to the object that I want. And so, very similar to you, thought, well, let's just try, design and technology.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just limit myself to education because I thought, man, if I get to an end of a 3-year degree and this sucks, I'm not going to be happy. So, I did design and technology first, so at least I could sort of fall back into the next tier of my previous field. And like you, I sent all my stuff in, and I had the course advisor just call me up, and it was after all the final acceptance dates, and goes, just enroll anyway, just apply.
Yeah.
Even if you get told no, turn up day one, I'll sort it out. He goes, because you are bringing this, your experience is going to help, one, your classmates, but two, it's going to help with what you want to do in the future. So
yeah, I think as well it sort of extends to at least a lot of the people I've met in the masters so far. I don't think it's a prerequisite to being a good educator to have such a career in the background and bring different. I don't think that's a prerequisite at all, but it's certainly a strength, I think, because I think particularly for me, I'm in my early 30s, and people who are much later in their 30s or if not further coming in, I still think it's a difference. Yes, we don't have that classroom experience as much yet, but the life experience and what else you can bring, and then being able to back and forth and interact with people as well. There's lots of positives and lots of differences as well.
Oh, absolutely. And the passion and experience that you bring into a classroom, especially with your background and the things that you're doing, your students will thrive on that. They will grow because they'll go, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about and he's having fun. He loves doing it, and he's just, experimenting and is really doing it. And not to say that, again, people who, this, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of amazing teachers who don't have a career other than teaching, and they are exceptional educators. But yeah, when you're coming from a different background, a different industry, you realize what's important, what is flexible, what is really worth putting your energy into. And look, at the end of the day, stuff gets done. So let's not get too stressed.
Yeah, like I was saying, inevitability, it's going to happen no matter what. So let's just choose to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And look, I think it doesn't matter what career you go into. There's parts of it that we just don't like doing, and there's tedious things. Like work, they call it work because every other 4-letter word was used up, So, but with what you're doing, how are you bringing all of that together? So how are you bringing your engineering? It sort of answers itself for me, because I get it. I can use the technology and I know how it's working. But for those who aren't in education or in STEM education or design or engineering, or those who are new to it, how are you bringing those experiences into a classroom that in a way that students will actually understand and grasp? Because you were coming in with some high level concepts.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty fortunate because I've been involved in education in some part through volunteer work for quite some time. So I always had a sort of foot in the water, knowing what students were after, what helped students learn the best, what they found fun, what they didn't like, and how to interact. But I think the main thing that I sort of try to focus on is, and I wouldn't say I'm the most academically inclined academic as such. I was more the practical kind. I didn't learn to read properly until I was 5 or 6, so I didn't know I needed glasses. So I've never been the book smart, but it was the hand smart. So I'm big on bringing in this sense of don't be worried if stuff's going to stuff up.
Yeah.
Get used to it failing. I love that. So I actually tell a lot more stories about the things I did wrong than what I did right, because I think it's so important, particularly at the young age in STEM or electronics, tech, maths. You really want that experience of, let's just take a circuit, for example. We should all have the experience of pouring hours of work, 3 a.m, you're at your desk with the breadboard, you're so happy, you connect the 5 volts and the thing goes poof in your face. Like, it's terrible, it's horrid at the time, you're exhausted, but the bounce back from that is super, super important. And I think for me, my engineering career, one thing that really helped me push myself and be a lot better was being able to open a cupboard, look at some parts, look at bits of old metal or whatever and go, yeah, we can make something that's usable out of that for what we need. And so being able to bring that into the classroom, it's the same. It's actually, I'm working now at my old high school, so it was nice. I already knew what was in the cupboards. Yeah, the rooms have changed a bit and everything feels a bit smaller, but thankfully there was some stuff there. But just, yeah, that essence of going, hey, regardless of what we're doing, whether it's high-level engineering using a hexapod robot to fail spinal segments, or whether we're doing some simple characteristics on a desk for trigonometry, the outcome is still the same. If you don't try, you're never going to know.
Yeah, that's been a massive thing for me as well, creating that environment where it's safe to fail, where failure is encouraged in the sense of, let's just try it. Like I was saying earlier, pushing machines and materials to their limit and getting a design from someone else. I remember back when I was tool making, we got this engineer for engineering drawing for an extrusion tool, and the compound angle for molten plastic to run through this particular shape. So we had the milling machine, for those who, it machines metal for everyone who doesn't know what it is. So it stands up. We had it a compound angle, so it was tilted to the side, tilted forward, and then we also had an angled cutting tool, and then we also had the steel sitting on an angle. And to look at that, like, you just go, how does one decide how that's going to work? And we're just like, you know what, we've got to try it. Let's just see how many angles we can get and manipulate it. Because if we don't, well, one, we're definitely going to fail because we're not going to try at it. But at least we're going to learn something and we get it there. Like I remember a student, introducing wood turning. And you go through everything and you tell him what to do. And he didn't. And the bowl ended up through the popcorn ceiling foam board. It was a cartoon moment. It was a perfectly shaped bowl cutout in the ceiling.
We can laugh because it went up, not forward. If it went the other way around, different story.
Oh, mate, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, 100%. But it was a learning moment for especially the boy, but also for the rest of the class and for me to go, hey, I've got to make sure that my instructions are, especially when it comes to safety, are so detailed, and not so much scare the students, but hey, we've got to be safe if we want to make some really cool stuff. And, like you said, that circuit board exploding, done that too many times. LED lighting, the wrong resistor blew the whole chain of LEDs. So when you're showing that to children and to students, what do you see now as, like, when they do fail, when it does go wrong, how do you see them react? Like, what's your experience with that?
I've had mixed. So I'm getting more into the school now. I've got more of a freedom to actually use proper electronics with students, and I'm really quite excited to do that. So maybe we'll do a part 2 once I've had a bit more experience with that and we can see if it's all the logic's holding true. The big one that I see a lot, though, is more in the sort of competition robotics setting, or if I'm doing just more practical stuff in classrooms with robots and things, albeit whether it's RoboCup or something specific for it. I think Emil was sort of saying similar in his as well. I think it's quite hard for, regardless of young kid who's put so much effort into something, and also as an adult understanding that for them it's a lot. Yes, so we can look at it, we know what to do, but for them that's like their heart and soul, their hours and hours and hours and building up to this pinnacle of working, and it doesn't. And I see a lot of kids, I think the biggest thing I see a lot is they pick up the robot straight away and they take it back to the desk and then they're just clicking, trying to do. When it's actually, you should just stay in that moment of not working, see what angles robots there are and go back. So I don't think it's that kids necessarily aren't reacting, they're reacting too quickly. It's just more like, hey, here's how to take a step back, take a breath. What's wrong with the robot, or what's wrong happening in front of you? What can you actually control? What can you fix? What's not in your control? because 9 times out of 10, they'll run straight to the thing not in their control. It's like, mate, no, chill, chill. It's all good. I think the main thing is I try to have a laugh. Not at them, of course, because that's really mean. But if a robot drives off a table, like you can see it's an accident, have a giggle. Like just show them that it's okay. I will never forget. It would have been year 10 in high school for me. We had one of the guys I was in robotics club with, Lucas, built what he called it Big Betsy, and he possibly used every piece of Lego and screw we had in the robotics room. He had to gear up from the smallest gear to the biggest gear we had just to make a move. And it dropped off the table. A million pieces. I'll never forget Lucas. He wasn't happy about it, but straight away picked it up and started putting it back together. And we're like, Lucas, you good? And he just went, yeah, guess I got to put it back together now. We're like, yeah, you do. So he did it. We all picked up a few bits for him. But yeah, I think the main thing is just take a step back and a breath. I think because kids want to react and fix stuff straight away, but it's okay to just take a step back and go, hang on, what's actually happening here? It might not be as difficult as I think it is.
Yeah. I mean, you make it a really good point with that. They want the immediacy. They want to go, okay, well, it's done. What do I need to do? I'm going to do it right now. And I mean, that's sort of almost a societal thing, which unfortunately leaks into what they do at school. So it doesn't give them that time to actually do that deeper learning of, hold on, I've done it, and they might have gone, I've done everything right, yet it still didn't work. Okay, so, like I've taught kids as well, especially with things like robotics or engineering or anything. It's like, okay, follow the chain. Follow the chain. You've done everything right, but the chain might not be together somewhere, or the link is not quite closed. So you need to breathe, you need to relax, and just go, hey, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work. But what have you learnt from it? And that's the best thing that can happen.
Yeah. I think as well, the other part I think works, and I think you'd be the exact same, Phil. It's like also acknowledge that, yeah, they're kids as well. Some of them are as young as 6 years old doing a robot for their first time, or they might be as old as 17. Yeah, it's still the same. Like, I know I was like that too. Remember coming home and be like, Ma, it's not working, I quit. She'd be like, no, do it again. Like, all right, fair enough. And you fix it.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to do that sometimes when I'm making stuff. It's just like, I get to this point, it's like, that's it. It's
It's done.
I have to walk away and I go, no, I'm going to breathe. I need to rethink. And then quite often that failure or the perceived failure actually leads to a greater success because you backtrack, you think, you evaluate, you iterate again, you refine it, and then you go, oh, exactly. So then again, next time you've learned and you jump into success just a little bit quicker because of the past failures.
Exactly. Like, there's a reason the creative cycle is a circle.
Yeah.
And again, I get it. It's jarring. Like, as part of one of my PhD studies, one of my experiments, it's about 2 days of prep, and then you start at 7 a.m. with the mechanical testing, goes till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon before you do the final failure test where you destroy the specimen, and that's the pinnacle of the data. It was what I was after. It culminates the whole study. Forgot to press record. No data. Right. Even as an adult, you still make the mistakes. And I remember sitting there, I just turned the music off, invented a few swear words. My friend Tyra was in the room. She's like, you didn't press record, did you? I was like, no. She's just like, yeah. You have the thing, you just sort of walk and go, all right, I've still got about an hour and a half's worth of work to clean this lab up. Let's do that. We'll go home, have a coffee, chill out, and just figure out, all right, how can I fix that for next time?
Yeah, and that's the thing. How can I do it better next time? How do I? And we teach them that design. We talk about design thinking, and it's been part of the engineering world for a very long time. Not necessarily under that subheading, but it's what we do. It's what engineers do, and it's what the 6-year-old, even just with a box of Lego and no instructions, they just create and they iterate and they design and they smash it and they try it again and they go bigger and all this, like you said, there's a reason it's circular, but even then within the circle, it's just chaotic back and forth to a whole range of different things.
Yeah, you become one of those sickos, I think, Phil, that loves the piloting and the figuring it all out and how it works. Then you run the testing, you're like, oh, this is a bit monotonous now. It's just
Oh
doing
yeah,
its thing. What, like, something happened, please. I got something to do.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think the challenge is, I know for me, is that creating and getting the problem solved. And my wife hates it because I do it around the house as well. Because I start various projects and I'm not allowed to start anything new until I finish the other five that I've actually started.
And if,
Because I do that 90% of the hard work, the creative thinking, the assembly, putting it all together, and then that last 10%, it's like, no, I'm bored. Time for a new challenge, and off I go. So I've been told I can't do any more until I finish the other stuff, and then for it's a struggle for when we want to do that. And I look at kids in my class, and it's the same thing. They want to get in and make, and they want to do, and then we've got to go, hey, you've got to do this part, and they're like, why? Why do I have to do it?
yeah, I think as well, I also kind of love that chaotic energy when they're like, they just want to start building and just like, you know what, let's see where this goes for a minute. There's actually a cool idea in there somewhere. We'll figure it out after. Then when push comes to shove and you got to say, no, here's the process. But yeah, I think, but when that chaoticness comes from, I think it's that I don't care what the outcome is. I just want to see. And
Yeah,
that's the part that I really, really enjoy is just seeing what they come up with. We were doing with the year 10s today, structural diagrams, and we picked some arbitrary technology. And I was just like, do any of you actually know how to build a traffic light? Of course, none of them know how to build a traffic light. But when we broke it down logically and pieced it together, I'm like, for people that don't know how to build a traffic light, you've come up with a pretty sound way to build a traffic light.
yeah,
Just once you take away the barrier of I don't know, it's actually quite fun. Like we did it with cutouts on the table today, and it was really quite cool because I was just like, what did you come up with? That probably won't work, but I never thought of it that way. Quite like that actually.
yeah, and that's where we bring in, that when we allow them to have that divergent thinking, where that's where the problems get solved, or to a
Yeah.
certain, maybe not solved, but they work out how not to solve them. So we go through the iterations to come to the best outcome. I was talking, I've got a new group of year sevens today, and we're doing the project. And I said, all right, how many of you think you know what your final project's going to look like already? And like we're two lessons in, and they're like, I've gone, well, that's good, and it probably look something like you've got in your mind. But you know what? We're going to go through this whole process to make sure that you weed out the stuff that you really don't want, so that you can make the best what I do want, and what you see in your mind actually almost comes to fruition.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a big believer of getting. This is going to sound quite bad. Getting people comfortable going through the cupboards and seeing what you've got. But I love that sort of thought. I was invited to Lefevre High School nearby. It's where my uncle teaches. Met some of the STEM teachers, and I got invited to run a one-day course as sort of like their STEM open week things for the year nines. And they're just like, oh, we don't know what we have. And so me and the other tech teacher, we just went through all the cupboards. And turns out we had like 8 or 9 robots of stuff ready to go. And we're like, it was just buried in stuff. And we're both just like, he was relatively new as well. It was a newish assistant principal. So we're just sort of like, oh, yeah, we'll make this work. Cool. And it went really, really well. It ended up turning into what we found in the cupboard, turned into a grant application, which turned into some cash to buy more robotics kits. And now they're super into it and doing stuff like RoboCup and all that. So I think just that comfort of exploration and going, could this work? We'll figure it out on the way. And because it can go quite well rather than just going, oh, we don't have it in front of us. All right, we'll move on and think of something else later.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about using what you have, or seeing what you have and seeing what applications you can incorporate, like looking at it from a maker point of view, because I mean there's so many makers out there who use tools and equipment completely contrary to what it was designed for, but they get an amazing outcome. One question I did want to ask you, so look, as a design and technology teacher, often we're lumped with, well, you teach STEM. And I know, look, I'm showing my age a little bit, but I know there's a lot of teachers sort of around my age bracket and my sort of experience level who go, I don't really like this STEM terminology, because in design and technologies and even digital technologies, that's what we do every lesson. So with your Masters of Teaching, is STEM, as you've gone through your studies, What has been the main focus with STEM is I see that it's more the science and math type of thing, and they sort of almost tack on the technology and the engineering. They go, well, it's technology, so it's got to be computer based, and it's engineering, so we've got to do material science. Is that what you've found over the years, or do you find it is actually, because again, I haven't been to university since
Yeah.
the late 90s.
I think I guess I've only been back at the education side because I did the accelerated degree. So my degree is a year and a half. I think I came in at a time when Flinders had brought on quite a number of people as well. And these were, I guess, true to form STEM people. The person that gave my science curriculum, sort of middle school curriculum lectures and workshops, she's been a science technologies teacher for, I'm scared to say the amount of years in case I release her age. I don't want to do that to Tisha. But then the course coordinator, Sarah, also she has a PhD in animal biopsychology, something like that, behavioral science of animals. So she kind of gets it. And I started talking to as many lecturers as I could. I researched with one of them as well. And so Sarah broke each workshop up into a form of science. So one of them actually was technologies. We had microbits in and we're doing coding. It was stuff I had seen before, but at least it was starting. And there's always this mention of the design process and things still. I don't know how that is across all unis, but I know unis have also specialized STEM degrees. It's a bit different for me, and you'll find actually most engineers get their degrees credited as maths and science teachers only. So on my degree, I'm up to year 10 maths and year 12 physics. But I say my background. I'm like, yeah, can I just do STEM, please? And it's fine. It's what happened at my placement at Woodville, and I ended up with a top class STEM teacher, Mike Berensky. He was awesome. So we're good mates now. But in terms of the actual uni, I actually gave a guest lecture talk in the topic I was in, just to talk about the STEM community, to make sure that it was still in there. So I think the lecturers and the universities themselves are pretty keen to push it all in. And I'd say, at least in my interactions with like Sarah, Cheeto, Carl and Steve, they're pushing it. And at least in the education college, I know at Flinders as well, they run a diploma of education where you can go back and focus in on technology. So in a way, it's still a little bit added on, but it's added on with the intention of this is in there now. It's going to be bigger and it's going to keep progressing.
Yeah, because I was talking to another teacher who will be a future guest, and we discussed things about trying to get new teachers in and trying to retain new teachers. And there's a lot of talk of like teacher apprentices and having mentors and doing all of this sort of stuff. And the reason why I asked the previous question was, she goes, us older teachers, we actually, need to listen to these new guys coming through, because they're bringing new understanding, they're bringing hopefully new research, they're bringing points of view that often we can't see until that they take off our lens and put theirs on, and we can see that, oh, hold on, yeah, I can see where that can incorporate. And I mean, there's a huge push for STEM, and I understand it, and it was great to get, especially the young girls involved, the female students. I mean, we look at who won the Australian of the Year just recently, the first Australian female astronaut, and like that just opens up so many careers. Like, even if you look at just being an astronaut, you've got to understand maths, you've got to understand physics, you've got to be of top peak physical fitness. So it's not just someone sitting understanding all this theoretical knowledge. It's someone who knows how to put stuff into practice.
Yeah, I think the hunger's there from at least the emerging teachers at the moment. I ran a bunch of PD for the uni in the summer break, and I think overall we had nearly 25 or 30 pre-service teachers come to one of 5 workshops with a couple established teachers. And then one of the engineering students I gave a lecture to ended up coming, and he's actually turned it into a small business, being an educational support person. I think the hunger's there, in the same way though that if looking at the lens through a new person, you should also look through the person who's established in the field and find that homogeny between the two, because they both have to work in synchronous no matter what. I think the hardest thing is just particularly the technologies area that I'm seeing is so saturated with options. It's just knowing where to pick and what to start with. you're always going to find something, whether it's something that sort of puts you in a sort of ecosystem and that's your area, that's your tech that you're using, or if you branch out, so if you're using things like ESP32s or Arduino, if you Google technologies for the Year 8 classroom, you'll never sleep again if you want to try and figure out exactly what you want to do and go through them all.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But I think the best thing that I've ever been told and ever been able to tell is just pick something and start. Just go for it. You'll find very quickly what works for you, whether it's a competition, whether it's tinkering at a desk and having a breadboard. All of that comes together, whether you're established, whether you're new, whether you're emerging, whether you're just interested, whether you're a parent. Just picking something and going for it. You won't go wrong doing something is the main thing, regardless. First ever stint doing parent-teacher interviews when I was at Woodville on placement. I loved it. One of the parents came in and was like to the teacher who I was with, "Oh, can you please put more detail up on DayMap?" Or no, sorry, they use Sector. On Sector, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, you want to keep it?" He's like, "No, no, no. I enjoyed it. I kind of wanted to do it at home as well." He was downloading the CAD. I was like, "That's awesome." It's just like there are so many CAD softwares out there. He's just picked that one. It's there. He's doing it at home, and then him and his kid are doing the same task, and they're loving it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, CAD software, like I've used everything from the highest level software that is industry standard, like top industry standard, to the lowest, earliest developed online cloud-based stuff, or stuff that, again, show my age, had to run off a CD-ROM to operate. And what I found is some are much more efficient. The operating system is much easier to use. It's easier to navigate and all that sort of stuff. But they still get the job done. And like you said, if you have a go, you can actually then get that understanding and then move forward. It's like even the advancements in 3D printing, and the accessibility to 3D printing. How easy it is for like you said, parents and students to go, "Hey, let's try this." And all
Yeah.
of a sudden they're going, "Oh, does your school run an entrepreneurial class? How do we do this? And we want to turn this. Can you help us turn this into a business?" All
Yeah.
of a sudden, and schools definitely are changing. Teachers have to change with it because society is drawing these kids in directions to go, you don't have to do the 9 to 5. You don't have to do, whatever. And I guess where the field that we're in, the KLA that we're in, is just more open to that style of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be the same. You've changed from a complete career that's sort of, I mean, educational parallel, I'd guess we'd say, in engineering and stuff, but it's not typically the jump you make from engineering into something that sticks you in front of people all the time, public speaking, doing what you need and all that. But you tend to sort of follow what you enjoy, and I think that's the most important thing of it all, and I think that's what we're trying to say with it. And it's just creating that environment to enjoy it. So in the same way, when you're finding a technology, just find the one you think looks the coolest and go from there.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's the best one on the market or not? It doesn't matter. Just try something and find what you like and what you enjoy, and you'll be pretty much fine. It's
Yeah.
very rare that someone's going to say, "Oh no, sorry, you didn't use that. I'm not going to hire you." So you use that? Yeah, great. We haven't done it before. Bring it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what can you value add? Like, I've used this and I've tried this and I've tried that. And, I did I went for one job interview once and they said, "Oh, have you used this software?" I've gone, "I've not used that one, but I've used its poorer cousin
Yeah,
because I couldn't afford the other one." And they're going, "Yep, okay." And it was just like, they asked me, it was a pretty basic object to draw because it was obviously a job interview, but it got to a point and there was like, and I said to the head of department at the time, I said, "Look, I know I need to do this." I said, "I've got to put a plane at an angle to this face." I said, "But I can't find the tool. Where is it?" And he goes, "Yeah, don't worry about it then." Because he goes, "Because I knew what I needed to do and
yeah,
the step, and I called it all the right things." He goes, "Yeah, you're fine. You'll find it. We'll do this later." And it's that thing. It's like, hey, just try it.
yeah. And I think where this is sort of circling back to for both of what we're saying is, and particularly having now seen and worked in the universities for so long across industry versus non-industry stuff and teaching in a university for so long, I actually think the biggest driver of change in sort of universities, which will then push into industry, making more capable industry people, is that sort of middle school, high school area, in the sense that now a lot of what you can learn in first year engineering and things like that, students are picking up now in their own time for fun. Like, it's crazy how even I can see in the short time I spent as in academia, still a little bit in it now, the difference of what someone could do as a first year student with a 3D printer, a laser cutter, or electronics to what it is now is huge. But I will say the disparity, and there's a growing gap between those that are super confident with it and those that are still emerging. And I think a lot of that has to do with, again, like you were saying, helping people get confident in teaching this area. Because right now, as well, showing kids that they can do this really cool stuff and getting them back used to, again, opening up that cupboard and going, what have I got? What have I got? Okay, I can take that board, that motor driver, this power supply. I can sort of make this work for now, but we'll need to make some new wheels or something. I think that's sort of where we're going at a high school level to help kids get that confident of, and I guess creativity and grabbing what they want and putting it together and just seeing how it goes. And if they want to pursue uni, they're going to smash it. They're going to be so good. And if you look at what industry's crying out for, at least in my own opinion, it's those sort of classic engineers again that are ready to dive in, build stuff with their hands and really get into the nitty gritty, I think is really going to be the new, what sets everyone apart.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, that it's that attitude of willingness to give it a go. It's that attitude of going, I don't know how to do it, but I've had an experience with this and with that, and I think I can, and I'm going to try it. And you hear so many of these, high level executives, these, amazing entrepreneurs who have started huge businesses. They're going, I don't necessarily want someone who's got a formal qualification. I don't necessarily want someone who knows everything. I want someone with the attitude of, I actually don't know everything, and I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to have fun. Because they're going, well, skills we can teach. You can do night school, but you can't actually teach the attitude that's required.
Yeah, Seton High, where I work, actually has a really good motto for it at the moment. It's making A+ people as well as A+ students. And I think it's quite, at the first I thought, oh, okay, here's another saying. Like, I was thinking about it, I'm like, no, this actually makes a lot of sense. Like, really, ultimately, you want to come out of it as a good person, ready to go into whatever industry you are. Particularly the industry I've been in, which being biomedical, doing patient studies and working with quite vulnerable cohorts. You can't afford to just sit there quietly, hunched at the keyboard, typing away. There's always that human interaction and that conversation as well, which I think is super, super important.
Yeah, and I mean, even with that, with the medical field, because of the opportunities that I had in Sydney, I worked at some high performing schools. A lot of these students, they get the academic marks to be able to get into medicine, but they have to almost go the long way around, because when they sit, particularly, they had to sit an interview, a verbal interview as part of the application process, and they actually didn't have the right people skills. They had the academic and amazing researchers, but as far as dealing with the human side of medicine, they didn't have it. So it was just like, oh, I've worked all this for what? No one actually taught me that I needed to be nicer to people, or I needed to actually listen in a way that I thought I was.
Oh yeah, I think in the long run though, that at least in my experience, that always comes out. Like, at the end of the day, like we said, and this not to sound condescending, but they're still kids. I know when I was that age, like you're telling me to stand in front of people, make eye contact, and talk about myself. Yeah, no, that's not happening. I'm going to stand there quietly and look like I'm better than being here. It's not a yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I've got someone in that field who's doing something in medicine, or I want them to be the best and know every single thing about it. If they can't fully give me a good conversation, hey, I'm going to let that slip. Let that slide. But
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I was just going to say, I think one of the big things as well, which really took me into education in that sort of vein, was I'm a big lover of the public sector. I must say, like I was public school basically through and through. And there's a great initiative happening at the moment in South Australia that it takes a team with the Principals Association. And I was involved a very small bit, but really happy to. And I think what I just love about working in the school I work in now in the public sector is it's just, here's that opportunity that, it's not because no one in your life is going to give you that opportunity. It's just a lot of these kids that I've met have quite different home lives as well. And the school is like that safe haven, and being able to create that space is like, hey, this is freaking cool. Let's have some fun here. We don't have to worry for these 8 or 9 hours or whatever we're at school for. Probably should know exactly how many hours that is, given I'm there a lot. But whatever the number is, and I think that's part of the part where it's like, if we're in the classroom today, we were final lesson Monday, week 2. For all intensive purposes, I would not be upset if every single kid in the classroom was asleep on the desk. And we were doing diagrams for planning a system. We made it fun, but it was just nice. It was the end of the day, kids were getting involved, and everyone was laughing and we're having a good time. And we were planning a vending machine just to learn the functional diagram. Like, it was nothing serious. But we ended up talking about vending machines in Tokyo because one of the students, she's from Tokyo, and talking about all the different things. Like, all right, how do you change your diagram to make that work? And like, just for that brief moment, neutral, it's fun. Everyone's still level playing field. It was good.
Yeah,
It
and
diverted a bit. I think I just got stuck on a happy thought there.
no, but that's brilliant, and that's part of being, and that's what we do in the classroom, and that's
Yeah.
the flexibility, and that shows that, like you said, that saying for your school, making A plus people as well as A plus students, and that's what it is. It's being able to allow these kids, these young, these children, and young adults, to have that safe environment, but to have fun in learning, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they make the mistake of actually learning because they're having fun.
You gotta come down actually if you're in South Australia, Phil, and see the teacher I work with mainly, Julius. He's also actually another PhD convert into education. We've both landed in the same classroom, and he has a stacked year 11 and 12 Digitech. And this year it was this awesome idea, and I was like, yeah, let's see how this goes. I'm keen to be a part of it. So he's paired a couple year 12s with year 11s, and the year 12s are leading the study that they're running while the year 11s are participating. And we were walking around the classroom, both him and I just stood back and were like, this is awesome. It was just and this was Monday, first year 11 and 12 lesson, or second year 11 and 12 lesson. We threw them in. We're like, let's see how this goes. And there was a point where we're like, is the room too loud for everyone else? It was just, they were coming up with mechanical testing, which is like bread and butter. It's great. That's the stuff we've done. But they were coming up with mechanical tests, and we're just sort of getting involved and talking. But the work they did at the end was they went around the whole classroom, and every single kid interacted, and they all agreed upon a unified dog bone size. It was a really cool day. And we're like, hang on a minute. Oh yeah, they learnt heaps too. Like, we completely, you forget almost that it's like there's a meaning to it. You're just enjoying it and being part of the moment.
Yeah, and that just shows how good your classroom's operating, because kids, they feel safe, they feel valued, and kids will, over the years I've learned that they'll rise and fall to their expectations, for the better part. Like, if you set them high, most of the time they want to impress you. They want to make you, happy for any range of reasons. But they go, well, hey, he thinks we can do it, so let's have a red hot crack.
Yeah, it's awesome. We had it on placement as well. I was in one of the classrooms, and me and my mentor teacher, full disclosure, we were late by about a minute or two because we were getting a coffee from the staff room. We'll blame the foot traffic from recess, but we needed a coffee. And we were going into a year 7 robotics class, second or third lesson in, and we walk in expecting to go, all right, guys, time to calm down, get settled into work. And we didn't actually think the kids had arrived. The classroom was quiet. They were so focused coding already. And we just sort of took a step back and like, do we get involved? Like, what are they'd already picked up their robots, turned on their code. We're running it in the corner on the practice track. We're getting ready for their news briefing that we give the year 7s to get them involved in the robot and stuff. And it was one of those moments where you step back and like, I don't actually think I need to teach. I think it's doing itself. Like, this is great.
Yeah,
I kind of just want to grab my laptop and sit in with them and just be part of it. Like, what are you guys doing? Oh, yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, and you almost don't want to interrupt them, because
No.
they'll lose that focus, and they go, oh, Sir's watching now, so we better not do anything. I mean, mind you, I've had the late to class with a coffee. I'll tell you the story with that one, and it'll make you feel much better. And I was well into my teaching career at this stage. I was like 4 or 5 years in, so I should have known better. We're sitting in the common room having a coffee, having a chat. Yep, the morning tea bell goes. And I thought, oh yeah, no, I don't think I've got class. No, she's right. Let's have another coffee and continue having a chat for another 15 minutes. And then I'm strolling across the Oval. And then all of a sudden, thankfully, I worked with an amazing faculty who we looked at. I didn't live it down for the rest of the term.
No, and nor should you.
No.
You're going to cop it. You got to cop it.
I was late, so a teacher just stepped in for me. But he got every boy in the classroom, as I was walking across the Oval, to hang out the window and just start making fun of me. And it was just like,
that's brilliant.
15 minutes late to a practical woodwork lesson. Never, because these kids, they're chomping at the bit. They just want to get in and make. And there's me walking across with a coffee 15 minutes late. So
Yeah,
I hope that,
sorry, my bad. Yeah,
I just had to own that one. There was no ifs,
yeah.
buts, or whats to get out of that.
But it is pretty special though. Like when we had our RoboCup Nationals, there was about nearly 3,000 or so people in Canberra, and you're walking around. I love it. All the kids that I've like met in South Australia from other states, and I'm like, sir, mine worked. His didn't, and they run on. And then the friend's like, he's done that all day.
It's like, shut up.
I love it. The little camaraderie and the bantering, like when there's that many people and everyone's just in the vibe doing their thing. It's great fun.
Yeah, that healthy competition. It
Yeah.
spurs each other on. It's just like, because, and if the roles were flipped, it would have been exactly the same.
Yeah. Oh, we had a year six picking on a year nine at one of the other comps. It was sort of funny. He walks up and he's like, it was this big tall year nine versus this little tiny year three, and her robot beat his, and so it was 1-0. His beat hers first, and they're like, okay, yeah, cool, we're safe. Then hers won, and they're all looking at it like, oh no, what do we do? And this one little year six walks up to the year nine, and is like, it'd be really embarrassing if you lost. And just walked away. I was like, the year nine couldn't have been the most sweetest student ever. He just laughed it off. He was like, that's pretty funny, sir. And I was like, it actually is.
Yeah.
But it was just lovely. He copped it. He went back. He fixed his robot. He still didn't beat the year three, but he was still having a good time. Everyone was. It was good.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what these competitions bring that
Yeah.
I've seen more and more. One question I did want to ask is, I've spoken to now a number of teachers from in South Australia, Colleen O'Rourke, who's currently over in Dubai, who possibly, I haven't seen any headlines, but she was in the running for a huge prize money for all the stuff that she's doing. Dr. Nick Jackson at Scotch College, Emil, yourself. Is there something about South Australia? Is there something that the government has got initiatives, or there's like, it seems like there's an amazing tech hub, and just innovation just seems to thrive.
I think it's just, what is it? South Australia's, Adelaide's the country town of Australia type thing. Everyone sort of knows everyone. It's when I was in the university as well, I used to say we're really bad at competition. It's like no one really runs their thing and is trying to dominate. Like Emil and I run obviously separate robotics comps, but we've talked, we've shared advice. I hosted Emil's data AGM at Flinders. Emil called me with like robot stuff. We'll just talk Vex, we'll talk RoboCup, we'll talk classrooms. He's invited me up to Padre and I haven't been able to go yet. Like, I don't know necessarily if it's initiative. I think it's just the culture, if I may.
Yeah.
That'd be my best guess. I think with the technical hubs technical colleges coming up in South Australia, I imagine that's going to have a big boom. And with Mitsubishi being replaced with that big Tonsley building, the medical hub on North Terrace, there's quite a few nice little medical startups as well, if you're in that area, like Fuse Tech and Additive, that have been really good to that sort of community and culture. A good amount of consulting sort of in the city, but at least for me, I don't feel ever concerned that I can't call anyone up that's a technology teacher in Australia, South Australia at least, or even Australia, to be honest with you, and be like, hey, have you used this before? And they go, no, do it this way. It's much better. Come here. I was like, cool. No worries.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish I had a more technical answer for you, to be honest.
No, but
I imagine there's someone in the state government going, it's because of us. And I'm like, you're probably right. But if it's because of them, it's the culture that's just kept consistent.
yeah, and I guess that hearing that, and culture is a key word, and it's often thrown around quite loosely. But when you have a good culture in your classroom, in your school, and that generally comes from the top down, you know, your principal, your head of school supports you, your head of department supports you, they give you autonomy, they trust your professionalism. And I think then there's that camaraderie. I talked about one of the schools I worked at, where I was late to class.
Yeah.
But that faculty, I'm finding in the 24 years I've been teaching now, it's almost unparalleled with the
Without a doubt, yeah.
the group that I worked with. We had a faculty of 12, teachers who had been teachers for teachers, teachers who had left and gone and done another career and come back to teaching, people who had professional interest in rugby because it was a rugby school. So there was that passion within there, and they bought that.
Yeah.
Some of those drives that you need on the field into the classroom. Ex-tradesmen like myself, we had food technology people, we had, all these guys, just
Yeah.
guys and girls as well, women as well, just coming in to go, hey, let's just work together. And the collaboration just drove a huge amount of success within that
Yeah.
department.
And you got to be able to have a laugh, I think. Like, I can't think of a day when I was working in the lab, or at least at the school so far, that I haven't laughed to the point where I'm like, I probably should control myself. And it's just the way it is. Like, even my placement at Woodville, you mentioned leadership. I was under the principal, Anna Mirangentis, and then it was Brett Haynes stepping in for Luke. Had a look, had a chat, they invested it. I work under the principal, Richard Abel, now, and the then assistant principal was actually my high school assistant deputy principal, Miss Hernandez. So when I came back, I was like, this is weird, but it's okay. Do I say, what do I do?
Do I call it miss or?
No, genuinely, I was sitting there like, it was like, oh God. But honestly, and then like, I've done a little brief stint at St. Peter's Boys in the primary school. I was under Colin Becker there, and like everyone around. Jasmine is like their head of school, whatever. She's always, how's it going? How's your weekend? What's your wife up to? When I go to Colonel Light Gardens and see Penny and Karen in their robotics class, she makes earrings for fun. She's showing me her Lego earrings. The kids are getting involved. Like I much feel like I know people that are teachers rather than just I know some teachers.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? When you get that camaraderie, it's like all of a sudden you want to go to work because you want that. You just find a joy in it again. I can see, this whole conversation. There's a joy in your face, and this is one of the driving reasons behind the podcast, is to bring out education for all its troubles and strife. Stop the clickbait, because yes, there is violence in the classroom, and yes, there are teachers under undue stress and bad management, and all these things that our many of the unions are fighting for to keep teachers in there. But just to see that, I think most teachers have fun and they want to be there and they want to bring joy and they want to make these A+ people.
Yeah, like I love it. Tom and Marty, the current assistant principals, deputy principals, assistant principals. I'm terrible with school hierarchy, so I've gotten everyone's title wrong, I must say. It's good, like that. Walk in the office and you have a quick dig and a quick bit of banter, a bit of a laugh. Like, all right, you're going to come to the meeting now. It's like, yeah, sorry, I'll be there in a second. Yeah, it's been good. Even at the uni, like the lecturers in the education community, even the engineering community, like the engineering education, whether it's professors, associate professors, people who really by title shouldn't mix with the common people as such. And it's just, I've been to wineries with some of the associate professors where they used to work when they got off the plane to Australia for the first time ever. And he's like, that's where I got stuck wrangling chickens. That's Egon Pirelli for you. He is probably one of the smartest micro CT people in the country, and his first job was wrangling chickens at a winery.
And I guess that shows attitude that's required for success. To go,
Yeah.
you know what? If I want to do this, I've got to start somewhere. And even though I might have come in, I've got a little bit behind me, I'm a new fish to this pond. And it's having that attitude of humility and going, you know what? I'm just going to do it, because it's not going to be forever. I'm not going to be wrangling chickens forever, unless it turns out I actually love wrangling chickens. I'm going to stay doing it. But yeah, it's that attitude of humility, and let's do what we need to do to get to the next step, because it'll take hard work and grit and grime and blood, sweat and tears sometimes.
You should meet Cogs and Nicolina, who I work with. Cogs is the current tech head at Seton. Him and Nicolina are exactly that. Like, they've had very different careers becoming into teachers, but it's just, they're like, all right, this is what we had to do. And it's just, whenever Cog speaks, it's just, he always has an awesome story to back it up. And you're sitting there, I'm like, I got to do work, but I'm happy to sit here and listen a little longer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You just want to have it. Oh man, I got to go teach. Oh, I don't want to. Oh. We'll take this up later.
Yeah.
Everyone's late to class. But look, I reckon we could probably talk for another hour and have just as many laughs.
Sorry, I just saw the time. I've kept you quite late.
No, not at all. Not at all. This is, like I was saying, this is why I'm doing this podcast, to get some of this joy back out there, so people can go, hey, teaching can be fun. It's hard work, but it's so rewarding. And like creating these people. And I think, like you're saying, like you're chatting with people, just to sort of circle back, you're chatting with people who maybe shouldn't really be chatting with you because they're at this, perceived level, and they've worked hard to get there. And, they're, associate professors or heads of, schools, and you're just, well, I'm just almost a teacher. But they're going, oh, this is where we come from. This, because I think
Yeah.
those people remember, oh, we were here once. And if we want more people to replace us when we're gone, we need to feed into this.
Yeah. And like, truthfully, I can't think of a single academic, at least in my education degree and my engineering degree, that I haven't been able to knock on a door and just be like, what's your advice on this? Especially in engineering, countless time on Cheeto's couch has been like, what's going on with this, man? This is what the vibe amongst the students is. And he's like, oh, hang on, give me 10 minutes. And he just gets on the phone, sorts it out. He's like, thank you. Let's sort this out now.
Yeah, solves the problem. Solve the problem.
Exactly. Just gets it done.
And I saw a great analogy actually just before we got on, and it was an older teacher speaking to a younger one and going, okay, teaching is rubber balls and beakers. And it's like, what? What do you mean rubber balls? He goes, there's things that bounce and there's things that break. And he goes, things that bounce are deadlines, reporting. They're pretty flexible. There's some rigidity to it, but they'll bounce if they're not met. You can always get to it. He goes, but if your attitude, your health, things like that, they're the beakers. So if they get knocked off the bench, they break. So we've got to reorganize to go, hey, let's look at these things, and our attitude and what we need to do in the classroom. The rest will happen. Like you said, inevitability, it gets done.
Yeah.
Whatever. But let's focus on these key things that we don't want to knock off the bench because we don't want them broken. And that's, I think, to a certain extent, that's our students, and that's how we speak into them, and that's how we get them to be the best people that they can be, and to get into their next level of success, whatever that looks like, right? And it doesn't, and I just choose success because whatever it could be wrangling chickens, or it could be, I want to be the vice chancellor of the best university in Australia.
Yeah. He's going to kill me for telling that story, I reckon.
Well, maybe he won't listen, or hopefully he will. Maybe he'll be a guest one day.
If he goes this far into it, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hi, Egon. We'll see how that goes.
Hey, but look, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, Michael, especially with your workload. It seems that you've got a family as well, so I truly value your time and value what you're doing for your students and for the new teachers coming through. Just giving into them in such a rich and rewarding way. But it wouldn't be the Tattooed Teacher podcast if I didn't ask you. And so many teachers lately have gone, no, and I need a teacher to say, yes, I've got a tattoo. So, Michael, do you have any tattoos?
I do. I very much do. I wish I had more, to be honest, but...
Excellent. Excellent.
I'll flash it on the camera in just a sec. I just want to quickly shout out my other South Australian RoboCup committee members who really set the environment that got me into education as well. So Simon, Shane, Kim, Colin, my past teacher Rob, if you're listening to this, look at what the whole community has created. Like, really, I'm quite new in that field. They've been it since I was a kid. So it's really because of them that a lot of this has come to fruition. Albeit, I can't see it. It's Newton Faulkner playing a guitar on my arm because I play a bit of guitar as some hobbies.
That's fantastic. Hey, we all need our hobbies. Like but behind me, as you can see, is quite chaotic and quite a mess. But that's my little space. That's my little workbench where I want to do something, I want to make something, or I have to fix something. Down it comes, or sometimes I just come down here to just to get back in my own heads.
In the zone, yeah. I've been reading the stickers as we go because I love the chaoticness. You'll see our bookshelf behind is full of knicknacks as well.
Oh yeah, I've got some stickers that maybe you shouldn't read, but anyway, that's what a garage and a workshop's for. You might have to take a screen grab and zoom in, and you'll get a laugh.
Oh, that's right. We're in your house, mate. It's your rules.
Hey, but Michael, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it. And good luck with the new academic year. Good luck with completing your PhD, completing your masters as well, or is that complete?
Both are very. Masters is I've got a couple more topics to go, and then one more placement, and I'll be done. PhD has been in the last couple of months for a while, but I'm doing the big push at the moment to write up the last research chapter and tie it all together.
That's amazing that you might finish your PhD before your masters.
In an ideal world, I do both graduations together, and then I hire one gown.
No, you have to get two gowns, because you've got to get your master's gown, then you've got to get the big fancy one, and being a PhD, you get the big floppy hat. Now that's what it's all about.
I kind of just want the hat.
I tell you what, after the years of study that you have to do, and the tasks and the research and the dissertations and the meetings, and I know many colleagues who have got their doctorate. I think if I got that far, I'd be wearing the floppy hat all the time.
Yeah. Every costume party, every Friday.
Every sunny day, because it's a white room. So
exactly, definitely.
Well, Michael, thanks again. You have a wonderful evening, and like I said, have a great term, and thank you for all that you're doing for education.
No, thank you, mate. And thank you for doing all these podcasts. I've really enjoyed listening to them and look forward to listening to more.
I appreciate it.
Take care, mate. All the best.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for listening to the Tattoo Teacher podcast. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and found it insightful. If you like what you heard, it would mean so much to me if you could either like, follow, and subscribe to whatever platform you are listening on. The music was by DJ Fruit Salad. Thanks again for listening. Stay cool. Be blessed.